Hello, welcome to Aviva Studios. Today I'm going to tell you about my top 5 favorite albums, specifically LPs. For over 2 years, I've been on this site called AOTY, Album of the Year. I've written over 300 reviews, and there's 5 albums that I think you all should listen to, because I have excellent taste in music. AOTY is a site where you can look at the articles made by professional critics underneath albums. Right, so you go to a Taylor Swift album, and you'll see Rolling Stone and all the critics that have rated her. And below the critics, the professional critics, you'll see regular people like me who give a review. Sometimes it's just a funny line. Sometimes it's like really long detail. They can be very enjoyable to read. Before I talk about my top 5 favorite albums, I want to give an honorable mention to an EP from Noah Kahan. The EP is called Cape Elizabeth, and it's beautiful. There's 5 songs on the EP, and I talked about each song just a little bit. Here we go. So 89 out of 100. That's the rating. This is one of the prettiest albums I've ever heard. Our Troubled Mind is a good start. Noah's voice is hauntingly beautiful, and practically anyone can gravitate towards these lyrics. I worry for the sun, yes, I worry for the snow, I worry I'll die young, and I worry I'll grow old. It's just so pure and human. The production could be better, but each verse is engaging, and I don't hate any of the lyrics. That doesn't normally happen. There's usually at least one line that bugs me. But every single line on this one was great. Uh, so simplicity can be annoying, it can be boring, but here the simplicity is stuck with me. And also the guitar behind all these songs is just awesome, right? It's a beautiful strumming guitar. Also that ah ooh is good stuff. Close Behind continues his trend of having the most unique lyrics. I don't really understand what they all mean, but I still adore this line. And I should change this way of thinking that all my fears are facts of life. It has a pretty sound, but I don't like the verses as much as the first song. The guitar in Glue Myself Shut is so sweet, but these are also my least favorite lines in the whole album. Like, he has this line, but if I glue myself shut, I know you'll find your way in, which is cute, but I don't really like it that much. Even though his voice isn't so great here. Anyway is better, and even though I don't understand it much, this is still a beautiful line. Darling, be patient, it's easy to break beneath the weight of the earth. The guitar here isn't as interesting, but it's not bad, right? It's the guitar always sounds good, but it's not so interesting here. The next track, it sounds amazing though. The album finishes on a spectacular note. Maine was such a joy to listen to. The first minute of instrumentals are really something else, right? So the song begins with no lyrics, just 1 minute of the guitar, and it's amazing. I'll never hear anything like that again. It makes me want to travel the world, laughing at the way you'd say, if only baby there were cameras and traffic lights, they'd make me a star. That was cute. And the way he says, to forget what they say. Spread that butter on my toast. That whole verse was gold. Right, so he says, asking strangers for answers to forget what they say. Right, so I think the idea is like the person is asking for advice, but they don't follow the advice. Right. And the person in the song was established to be like they were on some kind of pill to feel better. So I think it has to do with that. Noah's lyrics aren't always the best, but they're never boring. I just didn't understand them all. Thank you for reading this. Right, so and I usually end with something like that, like thank you for reading. And hardly anyone reads it. Right. Some of my reviews have gotten like 1 heart or like 2 hearts. It doesn't happen very often though. Okay, so now we got the honorable mention out of the way. Let's talk about the top 5 best albums that you have to listen to. Number 5, The Horror in the Wild by The Amazing Devil. The album has two Irish singers, a man called Joey Beatty and Madeline Hyland. It says that the band formed in London, but they sound Irish to me. Was I mistaking them for Irish all this time? I don't know. Like, I feel like I know what an Irish accent is, but let's get into the review. The Horror in the Wild, I gave 75 out of 100. Let me just say that this man has one of the greatest voices I've ever heard, and the female singer, who I believe is his wife, matches him perfectly. Now, I don't think it's his wife. I mean, he didn't say that on Google, so, but she's great. My favorite songs are The Rock Rose, Wild Blue Yonder, Fair, and Battle Cries. There's also a song called That Unwanted Animal that grew on me. The songs have beautiful instrumentals, and that Irish voice over the strumming guitar is just perfect. Welly Boots has an excellent production, right? I love the drums, love the way it sounds, but I just didn't get into the lyrics. Fair and Wild Blue Yonder are the most romantic songs I've heard in my life. And if Taylor Swift wrote like this, I'd be a fan. This is the kind of music that makes me happy to be alive. Thanks for reading my review. Seriously, you gotta listen to Fair and Wild Blue Yonder immediately. If you don't like those songs, I I don't know what to say. We have very different tastes if you don't like those songs. Number 4, Beneath the Skin by Of Monsters and Men. And yes, I reviewed the deluxe version. It's got this extra song in it called Winter Sound that is so good. The album has two voices, a man and a woman, called Nana and Ragnar. They're an uh, they're an Icelandic group best known for their hit song Little Talks. I don't like Little Talks. It came from their first album, and I don't like their first album. This is their second album, and it is awesome. I gave it a 74 out of 100. It should probably have the same rating as Horror in the Wild. I might change it. This is one of the longest reviews I've written in a while. The whole vibe is so distinct and beautiful. Nana's voice is gentle, lovely, but also epic. And Ragnar often adds a comfortable layer to the songs that she sings. This album feels like a long journey. There's pain and sorrow, but a great achievement at the end. They repeat a lot of words throughout the album to connect the songs, and it feels right. The salty sea, the breathing, the lungs, the teeth, and the storm remind you of the painful journey, and it turns the album into a complete picture. These guys are really good at saying so much with very few words, right? And they use very simple words. Um, I don't know if it's because they don't know the English language well. They must know the English language well because they're able to string these very small words in a way that works so beautifully. And even in the previous album that I didn't like, the lyrics were still interesting. I just didn't get into them. Right? So they were still able to string words together well on that album, even if it wasn't my type of song. I usually like it when a song is able to throw a long word in that fits well, but this album didn't need long words. I love it when Nana sings, so I take off my face because it reminds me of how it all went wrong, and I pull out my tongue because it reminds me of how it all went wrong. This shows that she feels guilty for what she said and did when she was in a relationship, and it's written in such a simple, abstract way. The drums and strings are arranged perfectly. Right, this is a rock album, but it's like a really pretty indie rock album. I don't like traditional rock. I don't know what I would call this style, but it's amazing, right? These Icelandic people have got it good. Even when I don't like the lyrics, the vibe is still awesome. Even when I don't like the lyrics, the vibe is still awesome. Like the songs Hunger and So Life just aren't as interesting lyrically, but they're still pretty songs that make the album beautiful and cohesive. The best songs are Crystals, Organs, Black Water, Eye of the Storm, We Sink, and Winter Sound. If you're gonna listen to any songs from this album, it should definitely be Crystals, and Eye of the Storm. Those two are just beautiful, right? The rock and the singing, absolutely lovely. There's also a decent remix of Black Water on the deluxe album. Crystals is such a heart-pounding track. It's the most memorable thing on the album. It was a good idea to start with that one. When I listen to it, I imagine a group of people running through the wild. It is the beginning of the journey. It is beautiful, but it is dangerous, and they have to figure out a way to survive. Peel away the bark and let themselves grow. That isn't entirely true, right? Because when I think of the song, I think of my two characters, and I really want to put this song into a movie one day. If I ever make a movie, an animated movie, I want to use this song. Organs is very poetic and lovely. It's a song about a person thinking about someone they broke up with and what that relationship was like. They tell themselves that they shouldn't care, but they can't help it. Eye of the Storm is another great song about contemplating a relationship. And Black Water is the song where our protagonist is almost drowned by the danger and their bad feelings. Winter Sound is about a fight between two people who refuse to break apart from each other. The chorus is almost just as cool as Crystals. This album had a lot of strange lyrics that were hard for me to get into when I first heard it, but now it's grown in me. Right, so I listened to this album like months before, and I didn't get into it. Then later on, I listened to it again, and started to get into the song Crystals, and I got into more of the songs. Right, so this is one of those albums that did I do a rewrite for a review? I think I may have rewritten a review. I can't remember though. Hmm. I don't know if I rewrote a review because I'm not sure if I cared enough to write a review at the start, but I feel like I did. Anyway, now the sound design pulls me in instead of overwhelming me, and the lyrics are no longer overly simple and awkward. At first, I thought Nana's pronunciation was too weird. Now I really appreciate her uniqueness, right? So she had got a bit of an accent behind her. She says words a little strangely, but like I don't know, it makes the song sound unique, right? It sounds different. I like the pause she does in the chorus for Crystal. Instead of saying, "'cause nothing ever grows when it's dark," she creates a pause and says, "'cause nothing grows when it is dark." And I don't know, it just makes the line so much more strong and more memorable, right? When she just does that pause. It's so small, but it definitely adds to the song. Thank you for reading my review. I love this little job. Number 3, Counterfeit Arcade by Shafar James, which may not be his real name. This album has one singer, uh, there on the cover. I think this is a sort of theatercore type album. I give it 82 out of 100. Right, and I wrote a pretty short review for it. Some of the most interesting sound design I've ever heard, and this man's voice is just gorgeous. Right, his voice is very deep. Right, very deep, very powerful. I love deep voices like his. If you want to hear a similar type thing, go listen to Amigo the Devil and Ben Kaplan. My favorite songs are For the Departed, Your Lady Waits, Villainous Thing, Digging Up Hatchets, and Have a Seat Misery. Your Lady Waits is so beautiful. It's a funeral song, right? And it's the best funeral song I've ever heard for like a dead soldier or like someone, right, like a friend that he loves. For the Departed is the second song on the album. It's much better than the first song, in my opinion. And Have a Seat Misery is a really cool closer. This is one of the strongest, most cohesive albums. Sound design is brilliant all the way through, even if I don't like the lyrics to some of the songs. This album sounds like it's from the perspective of this morally gray young man from a very interesting novel. Definitely sounds like a villain or an anti-hero, right? Um, very interesting songs. We're digging up hatchets today and sharpening the blades, right? Or you're a villainous thing and we can't have you living a lie. Uh, Absolutely, you gotta listen to this. is one of the top 3 for a reason. Try listening to For the Departed and Your Lady Waits. If you don't like those, you're probably not going to like this album. But if you want to give it a third shot, go to Digging Up Hatchets, which is almost as good as For the Departed. Number 2, Towers by Towers. This is done by a husband and wife duo, Kyle Miller and Greta Miller. Kyle is on guitar and Greta is on bass. This is a indie album with pretty guitars that I love. I gave this album an 86 out of 100. This was a very pleasant listen. It reminds me of the old Hellos, which will always be a good thing. The hauntingly beautiful singing with the strings and drums is all I need. I'm very easy to please. Okay, I say I'm very easy to please here, but I'm actually not easy to please. You need to have very complicated lyrics for me to enjoy your album. Right, so that statement is not true, and I should probably cut it off. Right, I'm hard to please, and even later I say, you can tell they worked hard to put these lyrics together. Right, so again, if you don't have really compelling lyrics, I'm not going to be into it, so I don't know why I wrote that. So you can tell they worked really hard to put this together, especially on the Belly of the Deepest Love and Whiskey and Wine. The Belly of the Deepest Love is slightly religious. Wait, not slightly religious. It's about Jesus Christ walking to his execution. Right, and that's like the deepest love, right? Because, he died for you and all that. Whiskey and Wine is a love song, a very detailed love song, similar to the things from The Horror in the Wild. I recommend that you listen to The Belly of the Deepest Love and Whiskey and Wine. If you don't like those, you're probably not going to like this album. The band Towers has come out with another album called The Great Minimum. Before I started recording, I was contemplating having The Great Minimum be the second on the list. Right, because it's almost as good as this one, right? But because The Great Minimum is longer than this album, it's got more songs that I don't like. Right, so it's got more room for songs I'm not into. So I wasn't sure if it should be the second, right? But you should definitely check out The Great Minimum because it has excellent songs. Like, it's got songs that are better than the songs on this one. But it also has songs that I dislike more than the ones on this one. So, which is why it was a hard choice. So I'll say Towers is number 2, and The Great Minimum is your side dish. I like the two of them because the lyrics are complex and beautiful. Number 1, Dear Wormwood by the Oh Hellos. This album is gorgeous. It's a folk rock album, which is a great combination, right? Turns out rock is great when it's got something else added to it. Right. I'm not a fan of traditional rock. Right? This is a brother-sister duo, Maggie Heath and Tyler Heath. And their voices are just awesome together. They're really lucky that their sibling is their best band member. I gave the album 95 out of 100. It is one of the most cohesive albums I've ever heard. No. It's the most cohesive album I've ever heard. Right. Well written, well sung, great folk rock here. You have to listen to this. This is stunning, ethereal music that you will fall in love with whether you're religious or not. Yeah, so this album is slightly religious. You can interpret it in a non-religious way. This album has lots of secular fans. Who interpret it in a very different way, right? And I accept those interpretations. They're great interpretations. Some of them can be this, or it could be this, right? I'll get into that later, right? So This Will End, Dance Macabre, Soldier Poet King, and There Beneath are the best tracks. Everyone should listen to This Will End. It's so lovely. Soldier Poet King is just so iconic. People need to keep making animatics of that song so more people can discover this band. I want more bands that switch between a male and female vocalist now. I love that because after I listen to this, right, months later, I discover Of Monsters and Men and all the others that have a male and female vocalist. Right, so this was the first one that had a male and female vocalist, and then I discovered the other ones later. And they became fourth and fifth. on the list. The titular track has a really great finish. I know who you are now, and I name you my enemy. I know who I am now. I want to be more than this devil inside of me. These songs need to be put in movies, I swear. Thank you for reading. So yeah, this is one of the first albums I listened to that had the male and female vocalists together. It's the first folk rock that I heard. It's the first rock that I liked, right? And then after this, I listened to Beneath the Skin months later, and I loved that. Um, and it's the first religious album that was good, right? I'm a Christian, and I'm very happy that there's a religious album that can still be interpreted other ways. That is awesome. For instance, Soldier Poet King can be, for instance, Soldier Poet King can be read as a song about Jesus, right? Jesus coming to destroy our terrible systems. There will come a soldier who carries a mighty sword. He will tear your city down, right? Like, so you can interpret that as Jesus Christ coming to destroy our terrible kingdoms, right? Our world that kind of sucks. Or it can just be a fantasy story, right? It can just be D&D. Um, People who love D&D love this album. Right? It can just be a story about a person who is a king, a poet, and a soldier at the same time. And it works great for a medieval setting. I can imagine the song playing in a movie scene where the heroes are rounding up and getting prepared for their big journey. And there's also This Will End, which is their best song. I recommend it to anyone. I personally interpret it as a song about an abusive relationship that ended, and the person is contemplating the person that they were with, right? And they're saying, um, and I wait for this to end, the back and forth, the battery, for you at last to comprehend the kind of love of which I speak. So the singer is thinking about his previous relationship and how the person they left might one day be better. You definitely have to check it out. If you only listen to one song from this album, listen to This Will End. Obviously, I want you to listen to the whole thing, right? But if you only listen to one thing, listen to This Will End. Dance Macabre is a wordless song that is so good I had to put on the list. There's no words, it's just music, and it's some of the best music I've ever heard from this band. I left a comment on the song saying, oh, this song is like the hero of the story, weaving through the ballroom, trying to find the masked villain at the party. It sounds so cool. Check out This Will End and Dance Macabre. It makes me happy to think that one day I will find even better music, and this list will look completely different. And that's it. That's all the albums. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice day. Check out those albums, they're amazing. Goodbye.